All right, welcome to the Sports Guys. Another weekend recap. This is September 8th, 2025. We're calling this week NFL is back, and it actually is back. And we got a whole slate of games starting Thursday night, then into Friday. Then we had them on Sunday. We got another game coming up tonight on Monday night. How you doing, Robbie?
Doing really well. Loving all this football. Crazy busy in my personal life with the boys starting two sports recently. So we're having fun though. It's really good.
It's incredible. There were some great games. There were some not so great games, but it just is so great to have the sport back. And that on top of, the second week of college football, we'll go through some of that tonight too. But what were your big themes coming out of the
My,
weekend, especially
my
in the
biggest
NFL?
takeaways are that there's not that much parity in college football. There were two upsets. There were a bunch of blowouts. Not every game was a blowout, but most of them. 80% of them were blowouts. And the NFL wasn't like that. The NFL, most of the home teams won in the NFL. And it didn't matter if the better team was visiting, the home team was probably going to win. So,
And most of the games are close. I mean, the NFL is built
and
to be close.
most of the games were close. There were very few blowouts. Um, 24-17 was a typical score.
23-20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything usually was within a score of tying it or winning or
Mhm.
so. Yeah, lots of parity in the pros, not much in college.
I completely agree. My other theme coming out of the NFL is the haves and the have-nots. It's pretty clear, even after week one, who the really good NFL teams are. Even if they only squeaked by, you can tell the really good rosters. You can tell the ones who have a good quarterback in combination with a good coach. So you really have to have both. And those teams that have really already started to surface towards the top were kind of the teams we expected. And
For the most
maybe
part.
maybe one or two teams that are unexpected, but for the most part, the royalty in the NFL is still the royalty in the NFL. That's what it looks like to me.
I think we're in overreaction Monday. However, there are themes that you can kind of look at and say this is probably true, even though they're yelling it online about how, this person's terrible or this coach is going to get fired next week. Or you're like, hold on a second. Like, let's just slow roll this and see who's really, really bad or who had a bad week. I mean, there's a big difference.
Well, but I look at like my team, the Panthers, with Bryce Young. I love Bryce Young. He is a 5'9" quarterback in a very, very much bigger and faster league. He's not particularly a great athlete compared to like Lamar Jackson. So he has to rely on a really good game plan, a solid offensive line, a good running game. He's got to have all those things. He's
Mhm.
not going to win it for you in the fourth quarter like Josh Allen did. He's just not. And so he's not elite. So you look at those top 10 guys who are elite, and those are the teams that are going to make noise in the playoffs. That's just what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
And so you can have a decent
But,
season,
but
but
I will say this: there is a wild overreaction with teams that lost. They're like eliminated from the playoffs and terrible, and they're gonna have
no,
terrible seasons. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa!
no.
Some of these teams aren't very good, and some of them, like you mean to tell me the Lions are gonna play poorly like that all season? No
I
way,
mean, in our preview show, I told you I
no
thought they were going
chance.
to take a step back. I said I thought
Mm.
they would take a step back, and I thought Kansas City would take a step back, and I think they both
There's
have.
a difference between taking a step back, which I don't think they're going to do, and starting slowly because they're getting used to new coordinators and new
Mhm.
situations. Yes, okay, fair. But I don't think taking a step back means not making the playoffs this year. That's not going to happen unless
Yeah.
Goff gets hurt or
No,
something major
I
happens
still,
with
I
injuries.
still put them in the playoffs. I put them in as a wild card. I said the
Yeah, but I'm
Green
not
Bay.
saying
Green,
you. I'm saying I'm hearing it
yeah.
all over the place with massive overreactions about this team is terrible and this team's a joke and this team's going to fire its coach. And
I
it's like,
thought
I don't think
before
most of that's true. I really don't.
before the performance yesterday, I thought Green Bay was going to win that division. Now I really think they're going to win that division, and I think so because they're the second best team in the NFC behind
Yeah.
the Eagles. The Eagles are the number
Well, I
one
will
team.
say that they looked better to me than I thought they were going to be, and I knew they were going to be really close to Detroit at the top of that division. But I thought Detroit was going to win that division, and I'm not sure that they're not going to. I think it's up in the air now. I think my certainty about Detroit over the Packers is no longer there because all the pieces that I thought the Packers had, actually, they're better. They have one of the best rosters in football. Like
They do.
their fourth wide receiver, their backup running back, their backup right tackle. It's just they have a very deep team.
It didn't
They're
surprise
not
me
gonna
there
be
were.
stars on Green Bay, but there are a lot of good players, and they're a very good roster.
It didn't surprise me they were good, but it surprised me how good they were. What the reason I thought Detroit would take a step back is what it looks like is true, which is that their offensive line isn't quite as good. They lost a couple of key pieces, and they have one big injury, which is their left guard. And Goff has to have the best offensive line of football to be effective. He really does. He's a statue back there. He's Kirk Cousins.
I feel like
And so if he doesn't have that,
week one gives you a look at impressionist painting, and your contact lenses are out. So,
I mean, are the Lions going to thump the Arizona Cardinals? Yes. Are they going to thump the New York Giants? Yes. When they run up against a really good front four like the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Green Bay Packers, these are teams that can really get after the quarterback. They're going to have a lot of problems, the Lions, against those teams, because they have a statue quarterback who cannot move. He's a sitting duck.
We'll see. They have a good running game, which allows the return of the running back is happening, and the best teams have a good running game now, and that's why the Chiefs have slipped a lot. The best teams are now running the ball again, and what does that give you? That gives you play action. When the Chiefs fake hand off the ball, nobody goes for it because they're not running the ball. So, when you have the best teams in the league have a premier running back, Jahmyr Gibbs or
now,
Saquon.
I will say that the season's a really long season, and I look at the season in quadrants. You have the first 4 games, second 4 games, third 4 games, fourth 4 games, like that. And in each of those quadrants, you can have shifting of power structures within the NFL. It does happen. Right now, the best 5 teams in football are the Ravens and the Eagles. They're 1-2. I don't know which order it is, but those are the 2 best. The third is the Packers. The fourth, it looks like, is the Chargers. And then fifth would be, maybe the Chiefs, maybe the Lions. They're probably in that 5th, 6th range. But, I think the Ravens, Bills, Chargers, and Packers, to me, are the top 4 teams.
We'll see. Like I said, I'm going to use my analogy. It's like you're 20 feet away from an impressionist painting that isn't easy to figure out anyway. And then you've taken your contact lenses out, and you're trying to figure out what you're looking at. After week 3 or 4, you put your contact lenses in, and then you're still 20 feet away, and it's an impressionist painting, and you're not exactly sure what you're looking at, but you're getting a better sense of it after week 4. But after week 4, there's still a lot that you need to figure out. And so, but I think after week 1, we're looking at something we don't understand yet. And so I do not believe that this league is going to just hold to the pattern of what we saw this 1 week. I don't.
And then there's other teams that are outside the top 6 that can do damage in the playoffs. The Commanders can't. And why? Because they have a dynamic quarterback. They have a really good offensive line. They have a great pass rush. They have good receivers. They now have Deebo Samuel. They can run the ball with Merritt Crosby. They can, and they can do all the things that can really hurt you in the playoffs. Matter of fact, you saw last year they knocked the Lions out. So on the AFC side, teams like the Broncos can do real damage because they have a real defense. So, there's teams outside those 6 that can do damage, but I think it's pretty clear to me, you talk about parity in the NFL, there is more, but there still is a separation.
There's definitely more.
There's still a separation between the top 10 in the NFL and the bottom 15.
Last year, only 4 teams didn't make the playoffs.
It looks to me like that top 10 teams are kind of like 1A in college, and the bottom 22 teams are like 1AA. It's kind of like there's a separation. There really is.
As you get to week 4, you start to get a look at the piece of art that you're trying to figure out. And I think trying to do it in advance and saying this is absolutely what we have there, I just think it's a mistake. You can start to see the beginnings of a trend, but it could be just a blip. Do you really think the Colts are as good as they looked? No. But they looked pretty good. Are some of the teams as bad as they looked? I think the Giants are probably a little better than they looked.
I was trying to imagine, though, Robbie, the Giants or the Panthers or one of those bottom-feeding teams in that game last night on Sunday night against one of these two that are two of the top 4 teams in the league. They would just gotten absolutely demolished.
Yeah, I agree with that.
By Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It would have been an absolute blowout. There's no way it's 41-40 against one of the bottom feeder teams. So that's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Another thing I noticed from the games this weekend, there were a lot more kickoffs returned because teams are starting to land it right in front of the guy and force him to pick it up and run it. So that was really cool to see a much higher percentage of kickoffs returned. It was really good. The other thing I noticed is these kickers across the entire league have gotten so darn good. They're literally like a strategic weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible to see these guys.
And to watch Butker run out there in Scotland with like seconds left. They ran them on the field, and
I can't even believe they got the kickoff.
It was incredible. There was 2 seconds left. In order to get all that to happen, where everyone lines up perfectly and interlocks legs, and everyone holds and then snaps the ball, and everyone blocks it in perfect unison, and then the kicker and the holder are in perfect harmony.
Yeah, and then the Bills guy last night.
Time elapsing. It's crazy.
That was incredible because it was at the end of the half. But imagine the Bills guy last night. His team comes all the way back, and he's got to seal the deal, but it's from 60 yards.
Yeah, for the win.
And he bangs it through, and it would have been good from 70. Mm-hmm. I mean, these guys are so good. It's crazy. So, like a guy like Koo, who missed the field goal and cost his team the game.
Yeah.
Is so rare these days. Like when they miss, it's like, wow, that's the incredible thing. It's not the make that's incredible anymore.
Yeah, look at the Bucks. The Bucks Falcons game. Are you telling me that the Bucks aren't the better team? They had to rely on the other team missing a field goal to win.
They are, but I think Atlanta's a little better. I guess my point is if you don't have one of those quarterbacks that can be great late, and there aren't that many of them. There's maybe 10 at the most.
Yeah. Well, maybe I think nobody would disagree with you. I think that's
like. I wasn't sure Brock Purdy was that guy until yesterday when he pulls off a humongous steal win on the road in Seattle where he has to drive the team in the last 2 minutes for the winning score to win 17-13. But otherwise, 49ers were pretty pedestrian all day. And he proved that although he had 2 really bad picks, he really wasn't very good. He proved that you hand him the ball with 2 minutes left and he can go be that guy. And I don't know how many –
we're putting way too much credit and blame on one guy. That's not what's happening.
My point is I don't know how many of those guys there are in the league, but it's very few. And the teams that don't have that guy are in trouble long term. And so
I think we wildly over credit or over blame the quarterback. Everyone's saying the Dolphins are bad because of Tua, and the Ravens and the Bills are great because they have great quarterbacks. Look at their rosters. They're much better rosters.
You mentioned NFL teams and NFL games are always one-score games for the most part. Most of them are one-score games. And so
that's because there's parity.
The elite teams are going to be the ones that have the quarterbacks. You can hand the ball and you know what they're going to do. They're going to march all the way down the field, get their team in position for the winning kick, or they're going to get the winning touchdown. That's just how it is. And the teams that don't have a guy like that are going to always be searching for the next year for the real guy that is the franchise guy.
But I think there's going to be a lot more upsets in the pros because everything's within one score, and there's pick sixes, and there's fumble scooping scores, and there's all kinds of unpredictability. Whereas in college, the good team is up 38-7 on the bad team.
Everybody was scratching their head last year. Why did the Minnesota Vikings get rid of Sam Darnold when he had an all-pro season? They get rid of him, and they go with a guy who's never made an NFL start until tonight. And the reason they did is because they made a decision in the film room that he wasn't the guy. Wrap this topic up. All I'm saying is if I'm a coach and I hand my guy the ball with 2 minutes left to make the winning drive, there's about 10 quarterbacks or less I'm confident will go get it done. That's all I'm saying. The other theme I noticed from the weekend was that a lot of teams' rosters are very lopsided. So you've got like teams like Cleveland Browns that are a very defensive running team. They absolutely smothered and stifled the Bengals to the point where the Bengals didn't even get a first down in the second half. They over doubled their yardage, the Browns did, versus the Bengals. Bengals got 160 yards in total offense, and yet they won the game because the Browns, although they got a lot of yardage, they can't get it in the end zone. They can't score. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of those kind of teams that they're good on defense, they're terrible on offense. They're good on offense, they're terrible on defense. So it's really very few and far between. You have these teams that really are good on both sides of the ball.
Steelers, they're not good on offense.
Yeah. So that's another theme I noticed is that a lot of
I
teams
think there are a lot of good teams, though. There are a lot of good teams. And there are some teams that seem to have dramatically improved themselves. I mean, I think I would put in that category the Raiders.
True.
I think the Jaguars are better. The Chargers are better. Like they're a formidable team now.
It's true.
I think the Bears are probably gonna be a little better. I think the Giants didn't look great yesterday, but I think they're gonna be a little bit better.
I don't know. The Giants, their offense is really pathetic. They're already calling for weaknesses. Jackson Dart.
They have weaknesses, and
Russell Wilson was
the
really
coach needs to go, but we'll see.
He was really ineffective. But what about Derrick Henry? Have you ever seen a running back so dominant as Derrick Henry? He looks like he's playing high school kids.
Maybe
it's just the craziest thing.
Dickerson and Emmitt Smith. That's about it.
It's bonkers. I mean, it's just guys bouncing off him like it's a father with his kids in the backyard or something. Mm-hmm. It's just almost unfair, really, to play against a guy that physical, that big, that fast.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how lucky is it a team that gets him to fumble at the wrong moment?
I know.
For the win. It's like, did you see how dominant he was?
That was one of the greatest games I've seen in a long time.
It was a good one.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Let's go ahead and take a look at our material for the week. All right, let's take a moment to give a shout out to our sponsor for tonight, and that's Academy Sports. We absolutely love Academy Sports in our family. That's where we go for all of our sports apparel, all of our equipment, our T-shirts, if we need a football, if we need a basketball, if we need any kind of things for the kids. Robbie, tell me about how much you guys love Academy Sports.
We're always going for something, but I went there 2 days ago and loaded up on baseball stuff for the boys to start their season. They outgrew their pants. There was cleats. We needed new batting gloves. Had to have matching belt with they're the Braves, so Braves uniform. They just have everything you need. Selection, good prices. Didn't spend much money and got everything I needed. And now they're outfitted. They look sharp. And I love that place. I feel really comfortable walking in there.
It was fun coming to the game on Saturday, and I got to see all their new equipment and apparel from Academy Sports, so that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we love that place. They're so good at what they do,
The people are friendly. The service is great. They always have exactly what you need. So, guys, go check out your local Academy Sports today, or check out academy.com, or you can actually go online to other sites that are broker sites for Academy Sports and go check out what they've got and go buy yourself something.
Yeah, you'll be glad you did. They got a lot of variety in there. And honestly, I always go in there, I get everything I need, and I always think about one or two things I'm going to need in the future. And so I either plant a seed for the next visit or something along those lines. So they've really got it going.
And then you can't wait to go back. So
yeah, and I know I'll have to go back because the boys are growing so fast.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, take care.
All right, so this one we're calling our NFL is Back episode. We are so pumped. We got football finally across the board. You see a great picture there to the left of Josh Allen when he received his MVP trophy last year. A lot of people thought it should have been Lamar. Lamar actually had significantly better stats. And you can see a picture there of Lamar and Josh as they were looking up at the scoreboard, getting ready for their matchup last night. Total NFL classic last night. If you have games like that every week, you're going to have humongous ratings. So that was really fun to watch. And I don't know if we realize, like you were saying, Robbie, how many good quarterbacks are in the league right now and how fun it is.
There's a lot.
Yeah. So just below that is Jordan Love, who really played fantastic for the Packers, and they've definitely one of the teams you talked about that's really improved.
Yeah,
They were good last year, but they're really kind of elite this year. They're top.
they've taken a big step up.
They have. You got Jalen Hurts, who narrowly defeated the Cowboys, although the Cowboys played very well, I thought.
Mhm.
But the Eagles keep on ticking. Maybe the biggest surprise of all the quarterbacks who really balled out was Justin Herbert. He's there on the bottom. The Chargers look like a legitimate playoff team this year.
Yeah, they smashed them.
They look really, really good. And a lot of people are saying the dynasty's over and the Chiefs are done. I'm not ready to say that yet. I know who's
No,
on
but
the
they had
team.
some weaknesses. They really do.
They have some weaknesses, and I think even more than last year. And I personally believe this is the end of the run.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they'll squeak into the playoffs as kind of like a wild card team and maybe out first round. It's that kind of
I was positive last year that they wouldn't win the third Super Bowl, but I felt like they got closer than I imagined. But I think that's the end of it. Like they had serious problems on several parts of their team last year.
I agree.
And their wide receiver core was just decimated. They had problems on defense. Chris Jones sort of held a lot of things together just because he was that good.
True.
But they have a great secondary, and that's about it.
They look like a legitimate team. I think Chargers and Packers may be the two most improved teams that I've seen in terms of the teams that are really contenders. Commanders kept ticking on. They look a little bit better. Defense is definitely better. That front four is.
They got pressure.
Everyone was talking about the Giants' front four, and it's good, but the Commanders' front four completely ate that in that game on Sunday. And the offense looks really good. You know, Krosky Merritt, the new rookie running back, had a really nice day. Deebo Samuel had 2 touchdowns. Ertz had a touchdown, which was a really nice one across the middle. Daniels, I love his attitude. I mean, a lot of times he was running in the game and he's smiling. He's smiling actually while he's running, which is really fun to see just how much joy he plays the game with. It's infectious, you know. Apparently all the players he plays against like him because he's just so personable, you know.
Yeah.
Then the biggest kind of comeback player of the year potentially could be Aaron Rodgers. What a show out that was.
Yeah, it's interesting.
The Steelers averaged 19 points a game last year, and he puts 44 up on the board against the Jets, his old team. And he threw 4 touchdowns, and he just looked like a spry, like 30-year-old version of himself. He was just slinging it all over. And they put some wrinkles into that offense that I hadn't seen the Pittsburgh Steelers do in probably 20 years. They're usually very vanilla. They had a lot of really cool wrinkles that Jets were not ready for. So it's kind of cool to see. They also have a much better offensive line, which is really going to help them. I'm still a little bit questionable, though, Robbie, about their running game. You know, they let Najee Harris go. They have some running backs, but I don't think any of them are elite. And so I think over the wear and tear of the season, I think that could really hurt Rodgers if he doesn't have the play action.
I agree. I think what you're seeing now is the teams that are separating in the NFL or the teams that have a good running game and a savage defense.
That's right.
Really helps the quarterback be able to do play action. If you can't sell that you're going to run the ball because you never run the ball, play action doesn't work.
That's right. So speaking of running backs, there's Lamar Jackson handing the ball to Derrick Henry, who had a day. Let's put it that way. He got me 37 points in fantasy. He was just absolutely unstoppable. It was crazy to watch. It's so much fun to see him run like that. And, of course, Saquon Barkley and he were kind of vying for the rushing championship last year, and I think that'll be the same this year. Clearly the 2 best backs in football. And then below that, you got Brock Purdy. And like I said before, this is the first time in his 3-year career that he led a fourth-quarter comeback with less than 2 minutes left and leads his team all the way down the field for the winning score against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. So it's kind of a blood match rivalry there. So any overall thoughts about all these great players on Sunday?
Oh, let's see. Really enjoyed watching the Chargers. Just how good Herbert looked. That was the best I've ever seen him look, I think. Loved the offensive line scheme blocking that they showed Joe Alt, and some of
Mhm.
those linemen were just pancaking and unbelievable. They were stoning Chris Jones, but you never see anybody do that.
Mhm.
And the Packers were incredible. They really impressed me a lot with how deep their roster is.
Mhm.
And Purdy doing a nice job. I think a lot of these teams are headed for special seasons. I think one or two of them is probably gonna sputter out and lose, but good quarterback play for the most part here.
You know what I
And
kind of liked about that Purdy day was he was having actually a pretty bad day. He had two really bad picks. They were
yeah,
on him, and he was really having a pedestrian stats day, and just overall looked flustered. And the Seahawks looked like they were cruising to victory, and he didn't let it, fluster him. He didn't let it bother him, and he just kind of they handed him the ball. 2 minutes left in the game, takes the team down the field, wins the game, and then they get on the bus and go home. And I like that. He's really rounding into a real professional. So it's
yeah,
good to see.
yeah.
Even on his worst day in a long time, he still won the game. So let's look at the week one scoreboard. That opening night Thursday night game, the Eagles pull it off 24-20. Although Dak Prescott had a really nice night, I thought,
Yeah, he did.
and he had three horrible drops by his number one receiver, CeeDee Lamb, that nobody could believe. Although CeeDee did have 7 catches for 110 yards, had a nice game, but a couple of those catches were really backbreakers, and really, I feel like in watching that game and kind of the eye test, I felt like Cowboys really should have won that game. Um, Hurts
Yeah.
had a
Although,
nice running day. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground, but for the most part, it just felt like the Cowboys did surprise. They were a little bit better than expected.
well, Jalen Carter's one of the best defenders in the whole NFL, and when you remove him unexpectedly off the roster,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to suffer a little. And that's what happened. I think their defense looked a little shell shocked. And I think
Agreed.
Dak took advantage of it. And kudos to him for being able to take advantage of it by being prepared. But I think that's what happened is their best player took himself
That's
out of
right.
the game by doing something stupid, which is, of course, spitting on Dak Prescott. And, he felt like he was provoked, but still,
If you think about the
maybe that's out.
Eagles won this game and they had a subpar performance. So that's how much
Mhm.
better their roster is than the Cowboys. They
Mhm.
had Saquon had an off night. They had AJ Brown had 1 catch. They had Jalen Carter get thrown out of the game before the opening snap. They had all these things happen to them, and yet they still come through with a 24-20 victory. And I think that says a lot about this team. You just find ways to win.
I think Hurts put him on his back, if you think
Yeah,
about it.
you kind
I
of
mean,
did.
he was 19 of 23, 152 yards. He had a QBR of 93.7. He had
Hmm.
14 of 62 yards rushing, and he had 2 touchdowns rushing.
Hmm.
He was their offense,
He really
and
was, because everybody else was kind of off.
yeah.
Now Devontae had a couple nice catches, but yeah, for the most part. And also, I will say the Eagles did clamp down a little bit in the second half on the Cowboys. You see, the Cowboys were scoreless in the second half, so I think the Eagles made some nice adjustments at halftime.
But actually, Devontae had 3 catches for 16 yards, and A.J. Brown had 1 catch for 8. So
Yeah,
imagine the Eagles beat the Cowboys with both their wide receivers having terrible games.
right.
They had
It's really amazing.
their best defensive player thrown out of the game,
And the Cowboys outgained them in total offense.
and Saquon didn't do all that much. So
No, you didn't.
they still won. So
Yeah.
that's got to be pretty frustrating.
It's kind of like the Bengals beating the Browns, and yet the Browns really outplayed the Bengals almost the entire
Mhm.
day. So, yeah, it felt like they stole this one at home. That's how it kind of felt. But a really good way to open up the season.
Mhm.
Next game you mentioned, really fun to watch this one. These were two really good teams, two really good quarterbacks. This was, in my opinion, Herbert's best performance ever. with 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. He really looked solid. He was really in control and command. I really like to see them mixing in the rookie Hampton from UNC. It's nice to see they have a rookie contributor there. All their receivers stepped up and played well. Mahomes did some damage, as you can see, on the ground, but really had kind of a subpar performance for him. Any thoughts about this game?
I mean, the Chargers really blocked well up front. They have a very formidable offensive line. Their defense is better than I thought, and they were causing problems for Mahomes. And I think Brazil got a good show. I think they got a pretty good game.
What's amazing is the Chargers had the #1 total defense last year in 2024.
Yeah.
And it looks like they've carried it over because they have a really good defense this year too.
Yeah.
So Chargers are going to be a problem, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to be a problem this year.
Seems like their offense was the challenge and the problem. And it feels like this year their offense is going to be able to hold its own.
Although if you score a touchdown in every quarter, it's about all you can ask in the pros. So they look pretty good.
Yeah, true.
That was a solid game in Brazil, by the way, which is fun.
Yeah, Sao Paulo.
Next game was incredibly painful for me to watch. I really thought this was the year the Panthers were going to come out of their 10-year playoff hole and be better, and yet they just looked feckless and ineffective all day. 3 times Bryce Young got them down inside the 10-yard line in the Jags, and we came away with 0 points in all 3 drives. One of the times he actually threw it out of bounds on 4th and 2. And so Trevor Lawrence looked better. Trevor Etienne, who's the running back, had a really nice day, 143 yards. His brother actually is on the Panthers, which is kind of fun to watch. He's a rookie. McMillan had 5 catches, so he had a nice day. But generally, this really wasn't close, and it should have been. And like you said, you think the Jaguars are better this year, and I agree with that.
I don't want to overstate it, but I do feel like they've done some moves that have moved them out of bottom 4 teams in the league up to about the middle. And that's a pretty significant improvement, Do I think they're going to the playoffs? Probably not. But they're going to be close. I think they're going to be close to the playoffs this year, and then possibly next year they make that leap.
And for the Panthers, I watched the post-game press conference today. Canales came out to talk about the 2 times that Bryce Young came out of the game after 2 of his blowing of drives and inside the 10 and threw his helmet down both times. And Bryce is usually very in control. He's very calm. He's always smiling. But he was very frustrated in this game. And Canales talked about how they talked about it and they are handling it internally. He didn't want to get into the details. But he said he calmed him down. They talked through it, and they're going to just keep working, just keep trying to get better. But, I've told you before that I'm a big Bryce Young fan, but that I've always been skeptical about whether he truly is a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I still feel that way. And I feel like, the Bryce Young experiment by the end of this year, if they go, 3-14 again or something, is going to be over. I think they're going to be shopping for somebody else and maybe even drafting somebody next year with that big class coming out.
I think that it's very easy to over-exaggerate this bad game by the Panthers. I think this is one where if the Panthers are going to get better this year, it's going to be slowly over the course of the season. They're not going to just turn a switch, add Ted McMillan, and be so much better.
That may be true.
I think they're going to get slowly better. Their division's not that hard. There's some good teams in there, but not great. The best team in the division is the Bucs, and they're just above average. They're not.
But the concern is that he was missing a lot of layups in this game. These are misses he shouldn't be making in year 3.
I know, but I think week 1, anybody who thinks that you can extrapolate week 1 forward is mistaken.
He had 1 touchdown missed to the tight end that was wide open. He had another touchdown missed to one of his running backs, little swing pass.
And I think with practice, you hit that one. So
yeah. So I don't know. I'm not giving up on him, but what I'm telling you is he's in a contract year because in the offseason, his agent is going to be asking to get a max extension. 45, 50
There's
million
no
a year.
chance in hell I'm doing that.
And so if you're in a situation in the offseason with Bryce Young and you're sitting at 4-13
Mm-mm.
and he's asking for 50 million a year, I don't think you can do it. I just don't.
No, you absolutely cannot do it.
And so I think they're going to be looking at this great college quarterback class that's coming out. I think they're going to be drafting somebody no matter what happens to try to develop. And it pains me to say that. I just think that's where they are as a franchise.
There's so many good quarterbacks, Nussmeier, Aller. I mean, you name it.
I think Trevor Lawrence is overpaid, and I think they're going to be better. But
I think all the guys at the top are overpaid.
Yeah. Should he get $55 million a year? No.
Dak, Lawrence,
Absurd.
all of them are overpaid.
Yeah,
the only one who's not overpaid is probably Burrow, and he's way at the top. And
the reason this was so disappointing is we've had a couple of years in a row of the Panthers starting, 1-9 and then finishing strong at the end of the year, and that's fine. But one of these years, you got to get a fast start. You just do.
Yeah,
you need to show that you're a competent offense, and
it's the only way to make the playoffs.
They scored a touchdown with a minute left in trash time. You know what I mean? Like, it was just pitiful. It was a really bad performance.
Yeah.
But congratulations to the Jaguars. Commanders take care of business against the Giants. Everyone's saying the Giants are better this year. We didn't see any evidence of that. They really were pretty pathetic. Their offense was very feckless. Russell Wilson was running for his life all day against that front four. On the other side of the ball, the Commanders kind of let off the accelerator a little bit because they really just had the game in control the whole time. They had Daniels, the rookie, Krosky, Merritt, and Samuel all have huge days. So what did you think about this game?
Total domination. The score didn't tell the story. I think the Commanders won by more than the difference there. I was really impressed with the defensive scheme, but especially the defensive line play for Washington. I love the way Jaden Daniels plays. I think he's got a lot of nice weapons and pieces around him now. So offensive line did a good job against a monster pass rush. I mean, the Giants have some really solid pass rushers.
What do you think about this team that went to the NFC Championship game and then they plug in Deebo Samuel? Like, that can just do nothing but give you more dynamic. He lines up in the slot. He lines up all over the place.
On defense, they added Von Miller.
I know. And they already had Deron Payne.
He's not just going to play well. He's going to make the guys around him better, just like Micah did,
That's right.
So
Von Ness with Green Bay was the happiest guy in the league to get Micah. He's going to have a huge week too.
Right.
Yeah, this was a great performance. I was really happy to see it. I am interested, though, when they come up against a better team like they're going to this week, and we'll go through the NFL slate in week 2 coming up.
Makes a big difference.
I want to see how they do this week to see if they really are returned to what they were last year. So the game of the week I thought was going to be this one, 34-32. It was incredibly entertaining. They kept switching over to it for bonus content. It was back and forth. I was amazed at how well Rodgers played. I could not believe how well Justin Fields played. He actually can show he can throw the ball, not just run.
It was one of the best games of the week for sure.
And it was just back and forth. Both offenses were way ahead of both defenses in this one. I don't know why that is, but that's what happened. You had Breece Hall had a huge day for the Jets. Garrett Wilson had a huge day. I think Justin Fields kind of shut down a lot of his doubters and showed that he really can play in this league. And Rodgers showed that at 42 years old, he's not washed up. So what were your thoughts about this one?
It was a very exciting game to watch, actually. It seemed like higher level than you would think of the Steelers-Jets on an entertainment value scale. You're not going to put Steelers-Jets very high up there, but it was a pretty entertaining game. There were enough stars. There was enough drama. Excellent play. Good play calling. It was pretty cool. So I enjoyed that game particularly.
I think if you look at the end of the year, you're still going to see the Steelers with a better record. We talked about the Jets are an incomplete roster, and I think they know that too. But I will say this new coaching staff the Jets have brought in has brought some juice. They look different.
They're fighting hard.
They look
I really
competitive.
enjoyed this game too on the storyline of them switching quarterbacks. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn comes in as the new coach and brings in a new staff, and he has Aaron Rodgers fly out from California to the facility to sit down with him in his office and lets him go. And so Rodgers said that has created a chip on his shoulder. That's created a fire within him this year to prove Aaron Glenn and everybody else who are doubters wrong that he can still play.
Yeah.
So this had to be incredibly satifying. He was able to pull this one off.
But the storyline of they swapped quarterbacks is pretty cool.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
It doesn't happen often where one year the starting quarterback is on one team, and then the other is there, and then the next year they flip flop and they're the starting quarterback for the other.
And
team.
doesn't it look like the change of scene helped both of them?
Yeah, I mean, it always looks more exciting and fun in the beginning of the year. They haven't been through the slog of the season and injuries. I will say that I'm starting to see the injury lists, and after week 1, there's already a lot of calf injuries and just a lot of people on the short-term IR. And
I think both teams got better, and both teams needed new quarterbacks, and both these quarterbacks needed a new place to go. They both needed a change of scene, and I think it helped them both.
Yeah,
which is cool. Russell Wilson, who's just above that, I'm not sure change of scene really helped him. I know he's trying to resuscitate his career, but he went to a really bad Giants team, so we'll see. I'm not sure how long he's going to be the starter there.
I don't know.
So Cardinals play the Saints. We would have predicted, and we did predict in our NFL pre-show, Cardinals were going to win this game and that the Cardinals were a little bit better this year. Spencer Rattler actually had a decent game, although he only had 52% completion rate. So he still was kind of ineffective overall. The Cardinals just had control of this game from the very beginning. What were your thoughts on this one?
I think they got the right guy starting for now. When they do this rebuild, you want somebody like Spencer Rattler to be your quarterback while you're investing your first-round picks in your offensive line, wide receiver, skill positions, and then trying to get free agent linebackers. You just build the whole team up and then go out and get the next star quarterback once you've done all that hard work.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have somebody who's going to carry the ball while you're building. And so Rattler's good for that. He didn't cost you anything. He was a very low draft pick.
And I thought Kyler looked okay. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. He was just kind of mid, as the kids say. He was just okay. Benson had a nice day for the Cardinals carrying the ball. Kyler made just enough plays to, pull this game off is the way I'd look at it. The Cardinals defense was a little bit better, I thought. So
Harrison had a nice catch.
He did. He's a great talent. I mean, I think he's going to have a better year than he did last year for sure.
I do too.
This was a really interesting game. The Raiders, Geno Smith played well, I thought. Ashton Genty had his first touchdown, although he was pretty ineffective on the ground. He had a 2-yard average. This kid for the New England Patriots, this wide receiver, was a real big surprise. Butte had 6 catches for 103. But, I know there was a lot of hand-wringing in the New England radio all day today that, Drake May's not the guy, the kind of things I'm saying about Bryce Young.
Overreaction Monday.
Drake May's not the guy. Clearly he can't win a game against a bad team, all this kind of stuff. What do you think about this game?
I refuse to do those kind of things after week 1. I like the conversation because this is what we do.
It's entertaining. Yeah.
It's entertaining and it's entertainment, but do not think for 1 second that people's whole careers are hanging in the balance after one game. Like, it's just, that's not how it works.
Right.
There were some very disappointing performances. There's no doubt about that. But I wouldn't be hitting the chicken switch yet,
Brock Bowers had a really big game. It was nice to see that in his second year, he's back at it. He really did get hurt, by the way.
Yeah.
He's on the injured list, but they said he's going to play in week 2, so it must not have been too bad. There's a little bit of a knee sprain.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think the Raiders are better. You talked about it earlier in the program. I think the
Yeah, they're
Patriots
better.
are also a little better.
They can run the ball. They've got some really good
Yeah.
defensive players.
Their roster is upgraded. I think Geno Smith is much better than they had last year on the roster. There's no question he's an upgrade.
Yeah. But they clearly need to go out and get their quarterback soon.
Of the future, yes.
Of the future.
I would agree.
And let him sit and learn.
But he's a good, good solid starter. He can get you 9 wins, something like that. So this game, Robbie, I don't even know what to say. I watched the highlights again this morning just to make sure that I could be ready for this discussion. But Daniel Jones has been essentially a disappointment his whole career. Was jettisoned by the Giants after they gave him a big deal, and he looked like a Pro Bowler in this game with some of his throws to Pittman and Taylor running all over the place, and
Warren presented problems,
and Tua throwing the ball over everybody and not being able to connect with anybody. What are your thoughts about this? Is this more about the Colts or more about the Dolphins?
I think it was more about the Colts. I think they played really hard. They played well. They executed. They had some synergy, and they had some good team chemistry out there. I don't think necessarily that they're that great a team, but I think they're improving, so. And the Dolphins, I mean, they got problems.
Is there anything you can take from this?
I don't want to join in the overreaction Monday stuff, but the offense just looks so out of sync, and the defense secondary is so weak. I don't know. I think Greer's got to go. They have too many good players on there not to be surrounded by good role players.
Do you think that they may cut their coach earlier than anybody else? Is he going to be the first casualty? Because, they just look so feckless. It's crazy.
I don't know about that.
This is a team that should get 8 or 9 wins this year. That's the kind of talent they have.
Yeah.
I think. And this was truly pathetic.
The coach might get cut. I don't know.
This was more pathetic than the Panthers, and theirs was pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
So, I'm head scratcher after watching the highlights to this game, or the low lights, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I think McDaniels is in trouble.
I think so too. I mean, he's saying dumb things.
He said after the game,
most coaches are losing right now are not saying dumb things like no one will listen to me.
No one will listen to me in the locker room. I'm like, what are you?
You can't survive that. You're not going to keep your job.
I know. It's crazy. It really is. I'm sad to see it because that offense of 2 years ago where they scored 70 points, it's just not there. I don't know what happened to it. So we mentioned this game a little bit. This was one of the weirdest games of the weekend. Somehow the Bengals win 17-16 and yet didn't get a first down in the second half. And the Browns just pretty much bottled them up the whole game. They really looked feckless on offense. Right. Browns just couldn't take advantage of it. They just don't have enough offense to do anything. But the Browns had more than twice the offensive yardage, and they were in the Cincinnati Bengals backfield all day. And you just didn't see the same kind of performance you're expecting from a Bengals offense. So, thoughts?
Well, I'm a big Burrow fan. I think they have invested a lot in a couple players. I'm never that satisfied with all the moves they make on offensive line. So, but I think
the offensive line's worse this year than it was last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think they made good moves.
No.
I think they needed to bite the bullet years ago and draft, some linemen that, like Harbaugh says, offensive linemen are weapons, Those are weapons.
Or is it just that the Browns defense is one of the top 5 defenses, which is certainly possible? Maybe the Bengals break out next week.
I don't think they're all that. I think they got some nice players. They have probably the best defensive player in the league.
Myles Garrett, yeah.
Myles Garrett. But I don't think the rest of the team's that impressive on defense. I think they play well together, and they have some good athletes and some good players, but I wouldn't put him in the top 3 or 4 defenses.
I mean, Flacco threw 45 times in this game. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a recipe for
Scored
losing.
16 points. I don't know. I'm not sure I know what either of these teams are yet. Like, I watched these highlights too, and I was like, I don't understand what – you know how every team has an identity? I don't think either of these teams have an identity yet. I don't think the Dolphins have an identity. I don't think the Panthers have an identity. Those kind of bottom-feeding teams don't know themselves yet. It takes some time to develop into it. And it's weird. It was a really strange game for me to watch. Next one is Buccaneers Falcons. This was a game where the Falcons actually dominated and controlled the game most of the game and looked like they were on their way to victory at home in Atlanta. Penix had a really nice game, I thought, for essentially his first start. And then in comes Baker Mayfield in the fourth quarter and pulls out a 3-point win. Of course, you had that really bad miss by Koo that could have tied it.
That really
is a crusher, especially at home. But somehow the Buccaneers find a way to win this game. So what do you think about this one?
The Bucs stole one.
That's what I think too.
But good teams can do that. Good teams can steal one when they're playing against a home team that is actually playing at the highest level that they're capable of, and maybe even better than that good team that I'm talking about. That's what happened here. The Bucs played against the Falcons team that was kind of dominating them, and they found a way to win in points.
And, in 2 out of my 3 fantasy leagues, I always take a flyer or 2 on some rookies. And 2 out of my 3 leagues, I took Egbuka, who's supposed to be the number 2 receiver for the Buccaneers. And he was by far Mayfield's favorite target all day.
He's so good.
And hauled in 2 touchdowns. And so I'm so happy because he just blew up for me in both leagues. So every once in a while, you'll pick a rookie that really blows up for you.
Yeah, he was one of my guys I've been watching the whole time, and watching him blossom is not surprising.
Now, I will say Bijan Robinson also had a nice day, and of course, he went very high in most drafts. So I don't know. I think both these teams are going to be kind of that fringe playoff team.
Yeah.
Fringe division winner type team. But division rivalry here, and the Bucs got the better of it. So the Broncos hold on against the Titans. The Titans actually had a lot of chances in this game. And I thought that Cam Ward played pretty well for his first start. Bo Nix was kind of off all day. We hadn't really seen him play this badly in a long time, really since the beginning of last year. He did have a couple nice throws. He had a really nice one to Sutton for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But overall, the feeling was –
I'll tell you what, watching Sutton this weekend, I've had him on my fantasy team a couple of years.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how tall he is.
Yeah, he's incredibly good, incredibly tall. But any concerns here about the way Bo Nix is playing? Is it that he's a slow
week one?
starter?
I'm not concerned.
Week one?
I'm not concerned.
Okay.
Week one.
Because he really was pretty bad. I mean, he had a lot of misses, a lot of, swing pass misses in the flat, and just stuff you would think he would hit. Maybe it's just
I think things are out of sync some in the first game, first 2-3 games. And I think you don't look too hard into everything. You just kind of accept that some people are playing below their capabilities.
Right. I mean, in the end, because their offense was a little off, they had to lean on their defense, which is very good, to win this game for them. Essentially, the defense had to shut down the Titans in the second half, which they did. So we knew the Broncos' defense was going to be really excellent. I think their offense, it looks to me like they're a couple weeks away from really being where they want to be. So,
yeah.
But hey, you get the win. So
you take it.
That's what matters. Yeah. So this game we talked about, the 49ers come storming back. Purdy, his first ever 2-minute drill to win a game. 49ers were pretty ineffective most of the day. They really were kind of bad, actually. But he has that really wondrous fourth quarter drive, pulls it off. McCaffrey had a really nice day on the ground and in the air, made a bunch of catches as well. Smith and Jigba is probably the best player on Seattle. He had a really nice day. Thoughts about this game and 49ers stealing one on the road?
I thought, I think Kittle had a really nice touchdown, and it feels like the Niners are pretty solid, but they're going to struggle with injuries all season long. I think there's several major players that are banged up and a little bit injured. I think they've gotten to a point where their offense isn't that dynamic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just want to keep it close and win with defense.
Mm-hmm. And then get that drive at the end to win it.
Right.
Or set it up for a field goal.
They can pull that on the Seahawks because the Seahawks don't have that much.
Yeah, they're not explosive anymore. What happened to the 49ers explosive, 37 points a week type
Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
Ayuk's still there.
He's there, but he's not as effective as he used to be. He'll get like 2 catches. Kittle's been banged up, and now he's hurt.
Yeah. There's several good players that are banged up.
McCaffrey's trying to limp into the season. He had a nice day, though, I will say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure about either of these teams being real contenders in the NFC. We'll see what kind of shape they round into. But nice to get the win. So probably the second most impressive game of the weekend after that Rodgers win was the Packers, who, I mean, the only word I can think of is dismantled the Lions.
I'd say dominated.
Dominated, yeah. I mean, it's funny. If you look at Goff's numbers, 31 for 39, it looks like he was really efficient and effective. But what you didn't see when you didn't watch the game was how incredibly effective the Packers defense was. It was really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan Love has done what Josh Allen did a couple years ago. He's found a way to eliminate the bad picks, which he used to throw, which Josh Allen used to throw. And if you get Jordan Love with no picks, but playing the same way he used to, you're going to have a really solid team. Josh Jacobs had a nice touchdown. Sam Laporta had a good day, but generally it looked to me like, and I don't know if this is going to hold for the season, but it looked to me like the Packers are the better team in this matchup.
I think so. On that day they were. I don't know about going forward. I think it's hard to say what's going to happen with injuries. The Niners are a very good team when they have their complement of team players, stars, but they always get hurt, so you can almost count on that. The Lions, as they get injured, they just seem to be able to maintain their excellence.
Mm-hmm.
So while the Lions didn't look very good, that's for sure, I wouldn't count them out yet. They're one of the few that didn't look great on day one, and I wouldn't hold that against them.
The other thing about the Packers on the offensive side is, and we've talked about this, but watching it with your own eyes is wild. When they go like 4 wide, they have all these great receivers, Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed and all these guys. They're fantastic. And I don't know how you cover them all. You just don't have that many DBs.
Yeah. Everyone's got one player, and it's all single coverage. It's terrifying.
So it's really impressive to watch their offense operate too. So
yeah,
they're a good roster.
I think the Lions are being put away too early. I think they're still going to be relevant for a long time.
But do you agree that the losing of the 2 coordinators every year, especially this year with Ben McDonald, has hurt them? I mean, there's no doubt that their offense is not as dynamic without Ben McDonald.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. They're going to have some growing pains, is what you're saying.
Yes, and it's mostly going to be in the first quarter of the season.
So next game was Rams beat the Texans 14-9. They had to kind of hold on for dear life by their fingernails. Matthew Stafford actually had a pretty nice game, pretty efficient. Had a couple really big throws down the stretch to solidify the win. Kyron Williams had a nice day, had a touchdown. Puka Nacua had a really nice catch towards the end of the game to get a first down to salt away the win. Texans played tough. Their defense was really tough. There was not a lot of scoring in this game. So thoughts about this one?
I think it was one of the better games, actually. The Texans are a very solid team. Nobody talks about them. Everybody's sort of forgotten C.J. Stroud.
Nico Collins.
And the Rams are good. You know,
Yeah, they are. They're really
they're
good.
good on both sides of the ball. And
You got
they've
Jared
stars.
Verse. You got all these guys in your backfield. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very good. Mm-hmm.
So I think
So not surprising to you, this was low scoring?
no, not surprising. The Texans are a solid team, slow plotting, not high flying at all. And the Rams are they can score different ways.
And the Texans have a piece that I think the Bengals should have kept, which is Joe Mixon. I still don't understand why they let him go, but cap casualty. Yeah.
Could be contract stuff, could be leadership in the locker room. There could be a lot of reasons why you let someone go.
So are either of these teams in the NFC or AFC a contender?
Are any of these teams?
Yeah, would the Rams in the NFC be a contender, or would the Texans in the AFC be a contender?
Probably the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably the Rams. But I wouldn't put them at the top, but I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck up there either.
Well, and you wouldn't be shocked if the Rams win that division.
No.
With San Francisco and the Seahawks. Yeah, I think they're a really good team. I agree. So this was the game last night. One of the most epic games we've seen in a couple of years. It reminded me a lot of that Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes playoff game a couple of years ago. That was,
me too.
I think, the best playoff game I've ever seen. Yeah. And this felt like an AFC championship game. It really did. Even Joey Bosa, who's new to the Bills, said that. He said that it felt like a high-level, very deep playoff game. And you had the Ravens played fantastic. Lamar had a big day. Derrick Henry was unstoppable, 169 for 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen had a huge day. Zay Flowers, all the big stars showed up. And you had Baltimore with a 15-point lead with 4 minutes left in the game, find a way to choke it away. And not taking anything away from the Bills, when they were given the opportunity, they salted them away. They took them. They scored touchdowns. So what's your takeaway from this one? Are we going to see this matchup again in the playoffs, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
I think so too.
It the Ravens kind of don't have that killer instinct gene.
Yeah.
Like they find a way to lose something that they should win, you know?
They were showing a stat. That I couldn't believe, and that is John Harbaugh has the most choked leads of double digits in the second half of any coach in history. He has 18.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
So is there a coaching problem there? Like, is there something they're not doing to salt games away? They've got Derrick Henry, for God's sake.
Generally speaking, no, but I'd say that they could improve.
Because you criticized them last year in the playoffs and the year before in the playoffs that they run the whole year and then they don't run the playoffs. Like, it's just
Exactly.
It's so
they always abandon the run for no
that's
reason.
Coaching. That's not players. That's coaching.
I know.
Yeah. So do they have a coaching problem? I think they might, because they have the best roster in football.
Maybe. Yeah.
So they have a great GM, obviously.
Yeah, if you're going to jump all over McDaniel for it, you need to make sure you're consistently holding Harbaugh accountable. I'm not saying fire him or anything like that, but he should be getting an earful.
He's choked 18 games away with double-digit lead in the second half. That's not good. That means he doesn't know how to finish.
Yeah.
And so this was incredibly shocking. I mean, most people went to bed when they went up 15 with 4 minutes left. There was no reason to stay up. And then
I saw with the last couple of minutes, the Ravens had a 99.1% chance of winning.
Right. So does this go down in the lore of chokes, or does it go down in the lore of building Josh Allen's resume as well? I mean, you have to give him some credit. He led this comeback.
I think if you look at what happened, it was a choke job, because it was incredibly lucky that that tipped ball ended up being caught in the end zone by the Bills player. It wasn't even thrown to him. And then followed by Henry fumbling. Nobody I mean, you just don't see that. And then from there, they made good plays. So they were able to capitalize on their good luck.
So this doesn't go down to, Josh Allen, the Bills never giving up,
I don't think so.
showing moxie,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is some of that, but
scoring touchdowns within 2 minutes every time. I mean, they had to
it's
drive the field.
it's not like, yeah, it's true. It's
throwing it
true.
to Keon Coleman,
Yeah. No, they played well when they needed to. And hats off to Josh Allen for having the stones to complete those passes and to move his team and have an opportunity for a field goal. But
Can you imagine what Ravens fans felt like this morning,
no,
like driving into work?
yeah,
Oh
they
my
couldn't believe it.
goodness. Just sick, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely sick. And Bills fans just stole one basically at home. So I have a feeling we're going to see these two teams again. I just have a feeling.
I think you're right.
Yeah, we'll see. So let's look. This is a segment that we had a fan, Robbie, tell us in your mailbag that we needed to do a fantasy football wrap up every week. So we're starting it right now, and we're going to show you some of the high scorers from fantasy football. Here's your top offensive players from the week. Josh Allen, number 1 at 40. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. Any surprises there for you? Top scorers?
Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think he's the biggest surprise. I agree.
I'm not that surprised by Daniel Jones.
Really?
Yeah, I actually think more highly of him than most people do.
Mm-hmm.
I think
People kind of written him off. Yeah.
he has an opportunity to be around the middle of the league, in my opinion.
Do you think
Solid.
he's going to seize this opportunity? Because Indianapolis is not terrible. I don't care what anyone says. Their roster is not terrible.
No,
They're
they
not
have good
great.
players. They have
Yeah.
good players on both sides of the ball. They've gone out and gotten.
They still have Jonathan Allen as one of the
Tyler
best backs in
Warren.
football. Yeah.
You know,
By the way, Warren had a really nice day too.
yeah, they can run the ball. They have security
Michael
blanket
Pittman.
tight end.
Michael
Yeah.
Pittman. They got they're a good team. They got a good offensive line. My biggest surprises here are Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, and Aaron Rodgers. I just didn't see Rodgers having this big a day. I thought he'd have a decent game, but
The only one that surprised me really was Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. So here is the list of tight ends. Pretty interesting. Dalton Kincaid comes in first. Juwan Johnson for New Orleans. Brock Bowers, who then gets hurt in the fourth quarter. He said he is going to play this week. Tyler Warren, who you're just mentioning, he's the rookie.
Yeah,
He's always a fantastic tight end. He's on your team too.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta, Fannin, Kyle Pitts, and then Travis Kelce. Any of these guys surprise you?
Fannin.
I think Fannin and Juwan Johnson. I didn't see him being up at number 2.
Yeah, I agree.
In tight ends. Brock Bowers does not surprise me at all. I thought he might be first. Tyler Warren, not shocking. We knew he was going to be really fantastic. And then Sam Laporta is just a consistent performer. He's always there. So I don't know. Tight ends are underrated in my opinion. And then here's your defenses for the week, top scorers. Of course, I was really fortunate to have the number 1 defense, Denver. Indianapolis, number 2. I didn't realize their defense was that good, but it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Jacksonville had a really nice day against the Panthers. Tennessee, Green Bay, the Rams, Washington, and Las Vegas. So any surprises here for you?
Not really.
Okay. Tennessee's surprising to me. I didn't think they had that great a defense. And then Indianapolis is a little surprising how high they are. But
Maybe so, yeah.
Any tweaks to your fantasy strategy this week?
Not really. Just take into account what happened. There's some little injuries here and there. some players are starting to underperform. You just have to do some gentle reacting.
I think you lost to your son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't great. I never start well, and I always manage my way,
that's right.
hopefully, into the playoffs most of the time. So
Right.
it's something that I earn over the course of the season. I don't
Well,
earn it on draft night.
guys, drop us a comment and tell us how you did in fantasy this week, and tell us, maybe some players you're looking at picking up or dropping or starting this week. So we'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
So here's our week 2 matchups. Thursday night, we got a really good one. Our Washington Commanders playing the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. So they're going up against Micah. They know Micah really well when he was with Dallas. The Sunday slate, you got Cleveland at Baltimore, Jacksonville, Cincinnati. The Giants are playing Dallas, Chicago, Detroit, New England against your Dolphins. San Francisco, that'll be a good one, yeah. San Francisco, New Orleans, Buffalo, Jets. That'll be interesting to see how the Jets hold up against Josh Allen and the team in New York.
Yeah.
Seattle, Pittsburgh. I think that'll be a scrappy one. Rams, Tennessee. Carolina plays Arizona in Arizona. Denver, Indianapolis. Now that Indianapolis had that big performance, I'd like to see how they do against a really good defense in Denver. Philadelphia, Kansas City. That's a great game. That's probably the game of the week in that 4 o'clock slot. And then the Sunday night game is Atlanta, Minnesota. And then we are fortunate to have 2 Monday night games this week coming up. Tampa, Houston, and Chargers, Las Vegas Raiders. So any thoughts about week 2 slate?
It seems like a decent amount of in-division play.
Mm-hmm. A lot of
Philadelphia,
in-division play. I agree.
Philadelphia at Kansas City. Gosh.
I mean, even Chicago, Detroit's going to be a blood match. I mean, you get those teams together in division, you can throw out the records, You can't tell me the Giants aren't going to have a big effort against Dallas.
Yeah.
Philly, Kansas City's a great game.
Jacksonville, Cincy's going to be good.
How do you think Washington can do going into Green Bay? You think they have a chance?
Yeah, I think they can beat them.
You do?
Yeah, I think that if they're going to play them, now's the time before it gets too messy.
What about Chargers, Raiders? You think the Raiders at home in Las Vegas can put a dent in the Chargers?
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we shall see. And what about Miami? You think they can get on the board?
I mean, I'm a believer, so yes, but would I bet the house? No.
Rob's not betting the house right now.
No.
College football. Let's go over there. Ohio State 70-0
Slaughter
against Grambling. And it's funny if you look at Julian Sayin, he was 18 for 19 with 4 touchdowns. I mean, just are these kind of games still good in the modern era? Should we still be having these types of? I mean, if you have a maybe week 1, maybe.
It's not super great for college football now.
It's basically unwatchable.
There's no chance that Grambling wins that game.
Yeah.
There's no team. There's no matchups in the NFL more lopsided than that right there.
Even Ohio State fans, when they go up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter, they go and start doing laundry or something. Like it's just it's not even worth watching. Like it's over. So I don't know. Good for Ohio State, I guess. Penn State also takes care of Florida International. Drew Eller had a nice day. Anything to take from any of these games? Kyle Allen had the 144 yards and a touch. Again, these just feel like tune-ups.
Yeah, I mean, another blasting. Drew Aller, had a pretty good game, but he missed a lot of targets. 19 for 33.
He did.
It's not great. QBR 57.4.
That's true. Yeah, it
So
seems like 34 is a little low. It should have been like 54 or something.
yeah.
It does feel a little bit low in the scoring, but obviously still took care of business.
Allen, 144 yards and a touchdown. Nicholas Singleton, 76 and a touchdown.
Boy, they still are a really good team. You talk about a loaded roster.
Yeah.
Penn State.
Defensively, they got an INT, a fumble recovery, 2 sacks, and 9 tackles for loss. So
that's right.
The defense brought it.
So LSU had a little bit of a struggle with Louisiana Tech, 23-7. And Brian Kelly was talking about after the game about how they were kind of disappointed with the offensive efficiency. They had some punts. They had a couple of turnovers. Really didn't play very well against a very subpar, inferior team. Anything to take away from this, or maybe just an off day?
I think it was just an off day. I think there was a lot of press on them this week, a lot of hype, and so you start to believe that a little bit. And Louisiana Tech, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of good players coming out of Louisiana going to both schools. So,
and this is their Super Bowl, so they're going to play hard,
right?
Yeah. I think it's just an off day for LSU. Same thing with Georgia. I mean, you talk about struggling. They're sitting at 14-3 against Austin Peay at halftime. And I was listening to the broadcast crew, and they were just inexplicably scratching their heads as to what was wrong with Georgia, because they kind of struggled all day. I mean, lots of missed passes, a couple fumbles, a couple times they went for on 4th and 2, didn't get it. Any thoughts about why Georgia would struggle against a really inferior team?
Not really. I think maybe at home you think, okay, we're gonna blast them. Austin Peay. Most people don't know. They've never seen that before. But there were a lot of areas of domination that just didn't result in points.
There were.
First downs 10-26 for Georgia.
Yep.
Yardage.
It was kind of like they were good between the 20s. They were good between the 20s, and they didn't punch it in.
Rushing yards 45 for Austin Peay and 190 for Georgia. So it was all about just controlling the clock.
Yeah. Georgia, it seems like they're still in tune-up mode. They haven't really put their best game together yet. They will. I mean, Stockton's a good player, and they're loaded. So
Austin Peay averaged 1.6 yards a carry.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the SEC.
Yeah. That's not going to get it done.
So Miami absolutely destroys Bethune-Cookman, 45-3. Carson Beck with another really nice day. Very efficient, 22 for 24. Doesn't get much better than that. So seems like Miami's rounding into shape now. They've gotten up to number 5. Starting to really be taken seriously as a contender this year. So are they possibly the best team in the ACC?
Yes, possibly. Yes.
It's you kind of look at it, it's either them or Florida State or Clemson, right? I mean, those are the 3 at the top, and then maybe Georgia Tech 4th.
Yeah.
Something like that. NC State.
Duke.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've been impressed with Carson Beck. I'm a big critic of his from last year. Didn't play very well, but he's really looked sharp this year.
I actually felt like he was going to do decently this year.
So the team I think I'm the most excited about and feel like I've been blown away by the first 2 weeks is Oregon. This game was incredibly impressive. I mean, you're talking about a Oklahoma State team that comes in 1-0, was looking pretty good in their first match, and they get absolutely demolished, 69-3, in what looked like a track meet. And Dante Moore looks really good for Oregon, and all their weapons, wide receivers and running backs.
Yeah.
So does anyone want to play Oregon right now?
No.
I don't think so.
Plus, they have Dan Lanning. I mean,
Dan Lanning, and they have all that money behind them, all the Nike money.
Yeah.
So thoughts about Oregon and kind of where they are in the pantheon of contenders?
I think they have a big program that reloads every year, and a lot of the Nike money goes there, and there's good reason for it.
Mm-hmm. Dante Moore, an efficient 16 for 21 for 266 and 3 touches. Pretty nice day.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Oregon more and more the more I see them this year.
Yeah, they're
Texas gets their first win after their disappointing week one. Arch Manning throws a bunch of touchdowns. I think it was 4 touchdowns in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They
It's a
win
lot more
38-7. Yeah.
All the demise talk was premature.
Yep. And all their weapons showed up in this game. They could run the ball, they could pass the ball. And Manning looked really comfortable in this game. So that was good to see. So Texas is back, or you think they're still working on some things?
They're back. They're still working on things, though, but
yeah,
I think they're going to dominate for a while until they hit the hardest part of the SEC schedule.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Clemson really struggled. I mean, I don't know how else to say this. I mean, they were down 16-3 at halftime to Troy. Everyone thought this was going to be a huge upset and that Clemson was going to be 0-2 and maybe getting knocked out of the playoff race. And then they have a huge third quarter, so they made some adjustments and find a way to win this game 27-16, but not impressively at all. And Cade Klubnik almost got pulled at the end of the second quarter, but they ended up leaving him in. But really was pretty bad in the first half. So thoughts about why Clemson with the slow start?
Hard to say. I think that maybe they've been kind of believing their press a little bit. So they kind of feel like they don't have to work as hard or stay engaged. I really feel like they have a talented squad. I think that they're better than they've played the last couple weeks. And we'll see.
This could have been really embarrassing. I mean,
this would have been bad.
To come away with this loss. This would have been like a Michigan App State situation. I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of Clemson right now.
It's very strange. The stats are very similar.
Yeah, they are.
They're very similar.
Down. What do you think he said to them? They're down 16-3 at halftime to Troy.
Yeah.
A 1-AA team.
Troy threw 3 picks. That's a problem.
Yeah. Well, whatever adjustments they did at halftime worked, but I have to think that their practices are very intense this week because they are not where they want to be. So South Carolina takes care of business against South Carolina State. No challenge there. Lenore Sellers has another fantastic day. Very efficient. Didn't play the fourth quarter. They kind of held them out. Thoughts about South Carolina sitting at 2-0?
It's a very dangerous team to play. They're extremely talented. They have good leadership, good quarterback play, and lots of athletes. They're good at recruiting. So, South Carolina State's going to get blasted every time, but it's a team that feels like they're going to try and be in there.
Yeah, they are. They're one of those dangerous SEC teams. I always put them and Ole Miss kind of together as those middle-of-the-pack SEC teams that could come up and bite you. So this game was incredibly competitive the first half, sitting at 14-10 at halftime. Sorry, sitting at 14-13 at halftime. And then Altmaier took over, and he showed what he was all about. And in Illinois' defense kind of locked down a little bit, and they win going away. So this is another very dangerous team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Illinois, they are dangerous.
So thoughts about this one? I know Duke gave them a pretty nice showing in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, it's Illinois seems to be building their program slowly over years, and we've seen this coming towards us, and a lot of teams just didn't get out of the way of it. But I think that they're going to be fighting like crazy to get a spot, and they should probably be in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
pretty elite company.
We'll see how many teams get out of the Big Ten into the playoff, but I think they're going to be right on that fringe to try to get a spot. I agree. So this was a moderate upset, I would say, an SEC team against a Big 12 team. So it's maybe not a major upset, but definitely was an upset. Arizona State goes down to Mississippi State. And actually, the Mississippi State fans have gotten so used to losing in the SEC every year and going 1-11 that the students rushed the field after this one.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about this upset? And, does this hamper Arizona State's march towards another playoff berth at all?
I think it does actually hurt them. But I think that Mississippi State had a great game plan, and the fans wanted to show some appreciation by tearing down the goalposts.
Yeah. There has not been a lot to celebrate at Mississippi State in about 10 years. So I kind of understand it,
Yeah.
I really do. It's been a long time. This was the upset of the week and probably the upset of the entire year so far, and that is the South Florida Bulls. They go into the swamp and beat Florida in a crazy wild game on a field goal, 18-16. So
that was the biggest surprise of the weekend for me on the college side.
Your thoughts about this one?
I think DJ Lagway, didn't play well, and I think that they underperformed in every position group, really.
And really, South Florida had a huge win in week 1, too, so maybe they're a little better than we thought they were. You have to give them some credit here. It wasn't just Florida playing badly. They really played solid if you watch the highlights of this game. So you talk about pulling off a huge interstate rivalry type game.
Yeah.
With South Florida. What a humongous upset. This is a huge problem for them in the SEC.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. They can't make the case that they belong there.
When you lose to South Florida.
When you lose to South Florida.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it's really devastating for them. Can they recover? Yes. But very devastating. This game was crazy. Florida State 77-3 over East Texas A&M. This is what you talked about. There were a couple of upsets and then mostly blowouts. And this is the craziest stat I saw in a long time. Castellanos was 8 for 11 for 237 for 3 touchdowns. He had 3 completions and completely dominated the game with 8 completions. So thoughts about Florida State? They're feeling pretty dangerous right now.
Yeah, they're dangerous. They've quietly been recruiting. They fixed their quarterback problem. And it's kind of a destination program now.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Yeah. These are the kind of games I really do wonder if they should take place, though. East Florida Texas State, A&M. I never heard of it.
State's still putting people in the pros, so it's good for recruiting.
Yeah, that's right. And I told you I like Castellanos. He's kind of chippy. I kind of like his attitude. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma takes care of Michigan in a really solid matchup of top 10 type teams. Really, really great game. I felt like from the very beginning, Oklahoma controlled this game. And Underwood, who'd had a fantastic week 1, had a really bad week 2. You really looked
came down to earth a little bit.
Pretty terrible. There were lots of tip balls, lots of block balls at the line of scrimmage.
He's going to be great, but
he is
just a little early.
Took a couple really bad sacks he should have thrown the ball away on. Missed a couple layups that he should have hit. Just was out of sorts. And Mateer looked very much the better quarterback on that day.
Yeah, very poised, calm.
You think Oklahoma's for real?
Yeah. Yep. I think they moved to the SEC and it got real for them real quick.
Yeah. Because they've been kind of struggling, mostly being a defensive squad for a couple of years now, trying to scratch real low-scoring games out, and now all of a sudden they've got a quarterback. So
Yeah. No, I think they've put together a nice team. They've quietly exceeded expectations, and Oklahoma is one of those blue bloods from the past. People want to go there.
now this does not hurt Michigan in the Big Ten race, but could be a loss that comes back to bite them later. But in the Big Ten race, doesn't hurt them right now.
Yeah.
Really good matchup there. That was a great game. I enjoyed watching it. Iowa State somehow claws away a victory and goes to 3-0 against their interstate rivals, Iowa. This is a much hated matchup. Scoring was very hard to come by on this day. It was a lot of defense, a lot of punts, a lot of positioning. So thoughts about the Cyclones going to 3-0?
I mean, they had a nice game. Rocco Becht was on point for the most part, 18 to 27, 134 yards, one touchdown, QBR 52.8. So I mean, there's room for improvement, but they definitely fought their hearts out.
For sure.
They were favored by 3.5, and that's exactly what happened.
They stay on Big 12 pace. They stay on playoff pace. They're 3-0, and that's all you can ask for when you're playing your in-state rival.
Yeah, that's right.
I got to say, Campbell's a really fantastic coach. I think Iowa State's very lucky to have him.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised he has not been plucked by one of the top programs yet. And maybe that will happen, but they're very well coached.
Yeah.
SMU goes down to Baylor in what was probably the most entertaining game of the weekend. This went to overtime. And SMU was a slight favorite in this game, but as we know, Baylor's a really good team. They go into SMU and beat them at home. So thoughts about this crazy game, 48-45?
I mean, one of the best games of the weekend. I really like SMU. I think it's one of the reasons why I thought the ACC would be up slightly from over last year. I thought they'd be back a little bit. I thought Clemson would be better, and I knew Miami would be better, and I knew Florida State was better. SMU is better. Should that come to be the I don't know. I think that the Baylor surprised them, and it's I think they get so many good recruits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Baylor gets so many good recruits that it was just one of those awesome games.
This is an in-state rivalry.
Yeah.
Texas on Texas. Baylor
All
tied
the players went to high school against each other.
Baylor tied it late, 38-38, and when it goes into overtime, anything can happen, and that's basically what happened. Yeah. I don't really think it hurts SMU for the long picture of the season. I really don't, because it doesn't affect the ACC race.
It was 2 overtimes, right?
Yeah, 2 overtimes.
Yep.
But yeah, disappointing loss, obviously at home, but really, really great game. You talk about
maybe Baylor.
Game.
In the past, Baylor has been thought of as a pretty decent program from time to time.
You talk about a fun game for college football fans. That was a great one with all the scoring.
Yeah.
This one was not much of a match. Texas A&M, 44-22, doubled them up. Really good effort there. Really nice in-state rivalry here. Really nice in-conference rivalry here with Ole Miss taking down Kentucky. This was a very hard-fought game. As we know, Kentucky can be really chippy in the SEC, and they make these games really tough. Simmons for Ole Miss, I think, was the difference in this one. He's really a great quarterback, although he did have 2 picks.
Yeah.
Ole Miss found a way to get it done, 30-23. So thoughts about this one?
I think Kentucky sneaks up there sometimes, but I don't think they can really compete with the big boys.
Mm-hmm,
I think they're kind of like Vanderbilt. They're
like that team you don't want to play, though. They're really
you don't want to play them because they can make you look bad on a certain week, but for the most part, they're not going to usually beat the top 6 in the SEC.
I agree. Yeah, Ole Miss had a hard time with them, but that's to be expected. Kentucky's one of those really tough, grinded out teams. Plays tough defense. Alabama comes back to the winning fold, 73-0 against UL Monroe. Ty Simpson with 3 touchdowns, and just looked like Alabama actually was finally having fun again after their real disappointing week 1. So anything you can take from this one?
Not much. I mean, Alabama needed it. Take a little heat off.
Ty Simpson was 17 for 17, and apparently that's the first time an Alabama QB has ever thrown 17 straight completions.
Yeah, that's pretty outstanding.
Surprised me that is the first time there've been 17 straight, but he really looked on point. Of course, he's playing UL Monroe, but
well, right. How good is the competition? It's not that great. So there's not much parity here to look at,
We'll see when they play Georgia. Tennessee goes off 72-17. Aguilar had a really nice day. Their running game was really good. Just locked down East Tennessee State. So not much to really report there, just lots of points. Indiana got back on track here, 56-9 against Kennesaw State. Mendoza had a really nice day with 4 touchdowns. So Indiana really looked like Indiana this weekend. Texas Tech, 62-14.
By the way, all Kurt Signetti does is win.
That's right. And he says that too.
Google me, I win.
He'll tell you that too.
That's funny.
Texas Tech really looked like a top 25 team against Kent State. They just demolished them. It was crazy.
They're heavy in the portal.
Some people have been calling for Texas Tech to be kind of a dark horse this year, and they're really looking good. So Utah looks like the class of the Big 12, 63-9 against Cal Poly. This is what everyone thought Utah would look like last year and the year before, but they kind of disappointed. This year they're looking like that. So
Joel Klatt always says, when you don't talk about Utah, they just quietly become a juggernaut. But when you start having expectations for them, they always let you down. So he said, nobody's talking about Utah this year. That means they're going to be good.
It's very true.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
And they look very good this year. So this is the game we cared about. Our Virginia Cavaliers played NC State at Raleigh. And this was a fantastic back and forth game. There was 8 lead changes in this game.
One of the better games of the weekend.
Chandler Morris looked really great again. This kid Taylor for Virginia, 17 carries for 150 for 3 touchdowns. He had a great game. Ross had another couple really big plays, including some returns. NC State has this kid Hollywood, who's one of their running backs, who just went off on Virginia. And Bailey had a nice game. And in the end, Virginia had the ball last, which is what we wanted. Drove the ball from the 10-yard line all the way down to the NC State 10. On one play, had a guy open in the back of the end zone crossing route. Chandler Morris missed him. On the very next play, he double clutched and threw it, and it was picked off. And NC State wins the game, and Virginia is heartbroken that they weren't able to steal one. Yeah. So thoughts about this?
They played well enough to win it, but they made a huge mistake at the end.
Right. Thoughts about this game? Also, they gave up 21 points in the third quarter, which didn't help.
Yeah, they let them come back.
So thoughts about, Virginia's clearly better. NC State's having a decent season so far.
Yeah. Both things are true. NC State's tough. That's why I was, nervous about it. They've got a lot of players. And Virginia is better, much better than they've been in the last few years. But it's really hard to go on the road and get a win. It just really is.
It is. It really is. I know that he probably lost some sleep that night and he wanted that one back because he just had such a great drive.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's just crushing. When you have 11 great passes and 1 bad pass, it's just.
Yeah, it was one of the best games of the whole day.
Really great game. Really enjoyed it. So here's your AP poll, top 25, Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Oregon, Miami. And you got Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Illinois, and Florida State. Any problems with the AP poll this week?
Not really. It's so early still.
Yeah.
I like seeing Illinois up there. I'm glad Notre Dame didn't fall too far.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Clemson. Give them a chance to.
So I thought it was interesting. The coaches poll's a little different, and I wonder why that is. AP poll, of course, is voted on by the sports writers and sports journalists, and the coaches poll sometimes feels like the coaches know something we don't know. They've got Georgia
Well,
at
they
3.
know the other coach. They know the coaches.
Why do you
and
think they've got Georgia at 3 and AP poll has them at 6?
Because they know the coaching staff there, and they're probably really impressed with. And the AP top 25 one is more taking them into account, like the hype and stuff.
They also have South Carolina a little higher than the AP poll. That tells me none of the coaches want to play South Carolina.
That's right.
Shane Beamer.
With players.
Yeah, that's right. So I thought that was different, that there were some differences there. Interesting. All right, let's go to our subscriber challenge of the night, our 2-part question. Here we go. First one is, who's the most impressive college team so far this season? Robbie, what do you think? After 2 weeks.
I'd say I have to do just one team.
One team, or you can give 2 if you want.
I'm gonna say Florida State, LSU, or Ohio State.
Okay. I've got Oregon, LSU, and Miami. I think those 3 teams have been really impressive so far.
Yeah.
You know, Ohio State and Penn State obviously are really, really good, and they're going to be a factor, obviously, down the road. But Oregon, LSU, Miami, I like those 3. Drop us a comment, guys, who you think has been the most impressive college team so far this year. So next one is, which coach has the hottest seat? Mike McDaniel, Shane Steichen with the Colts, Brian Daboll with the Giants, Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals, Kevin Stefanski with the Browns, or Matt LaFleur with the Packers. I don't even know why this is on here because Packers are really good. Who do you think has the hottest seat? Who do you think might get fired during the season potentially?
It's got to be Mike McDaniel.
I think it's McDaniel or Daboll. I think I could see Daboll getting fired in like week 5 or something.
I think McDaniel has good players, and he's underachieving with them, and he's lost control. He admits that they're not listening to him anymore. Whereas Daboll, I mean, I think his players will listen to him. He just doesn't have much talent around him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he can even hold that guy accountable.
I don't know. They just look so pathetic here every year, the Giants. I just can't think they're going to accept this.
No, it's true, but
yeah, I mean, 6 points on Sunday. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Drop us a comment, guys. Who do you think is the coach who has the hottest seat right now? All right, Robbie, before I hand it to you, man, the top 10 sports movies of all time, this is the ranking that came in. They got over 1 million votes. They had Remember the Titans first, then Rocky, Field of Dreams, Moneyball, which we had in our sports analytics episode.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about that one. Miracle, Hoosiers, Happy Gilmore, A League of Their Own, We Are Marshall, and The Sandlot. So have you seen all these movies?
Bull Durham.
Yeah, I was going to say Bull Durham's not in there.
What?
Man. I know.
But yeah, that's a good list though. But
what's your favorite of this 10? And are there any that you haven't seen yet?
I really like Sandlot because the boys love it. Moneyball is pretty good. Remember the Titans. It's probably Remember the Titans.
I don't know. Rocky's pretty good too.
And Bull Durham.
The original Rocky was really fantastic.
Bull Durham was great.
Field of Dreams was great.
Field of Dreams, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're all pretty good, to be honest.
I haven't seen Miracle. I have not seen that, and I've not seen We Are Marshall. So I've seen 8 of the 10.
Yeah, I've seen them.
I like Remember the Titans, Rocky, Field of Dreams. I agree with those 3. Moneyball. Happy Gilmore is fantastic too.
Mm.
What about Caddyshack? That's not in there.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, I guess.
Comedy.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna hand it to you.
All right. Let's do it. This was from last week, college football. Football overload. First one is you always keep it entertaining and informative at Jesse Arthur Harris.
That's great. Thanks, Jesse. Yeah, we our best to do the research and put this material together so you learn a lot and come away with something new.
Yep. Next one. That final analysis was fire. Loved it. That was from Matthew Joseph Nguyen.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. We love when you say it's fire. That's good stuff.
Yeah, that's a pretty funny comment.
Yeah.
Next one. Totally agree with your MVP picks this week. Duong Lan.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Well, if you
MVP
agree
pick.
with us, then that's great too. And if you disagree with us, drop us a comment about that too. But yeah, great that you agree with us.
Yeah. Loved hearing your takes on the biggest upsets at Matthew Flores.
Those are always the most fun. I mean, we've talked about there was really 3 this weekend total in college, and we talked about all 3 of them, and those are a lot of fun to talk about. And there were a couple in the NFL as well.
Yeah. In the NFL, they're a little less surprising.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. There's some ugly losses on every team's slate. So
no question.
But in college, you can really go like 13-1, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Last one, best sports recap channel out there, hands down, at Justin Garcia.
Man, Justin.
Justin, our man.
You're the man. Yeah, thanks so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate your comment and all of those comments. Everybody who took time to do that. We're always encouraged by it, and we want to hear how everyone's view out there is of what we're talking about and kind of how they see it too. So keep those comments coming. We really appreciate it.
We do. Keep
And that's
subscribing. Keep bringing some of your friends to the table. Robbie, what do you think of your picture this week?
I like it.
All right, Robbie, what are you looking for going into week 3 college, week 2 NFL?
Week 3 college. I think weeks 3 and 4, you start to see the picture get a little clearer, and NFL is just starting, so I think it's much more unclear. I think college, you're starting to see the pretenders and the real ones who belong there.
Separate. But I think in the NFL, you're going to see that, like you said, by week 4, you'll see the separation of the real
I think so too. Week 1, though, I think it's absurd to jump all over it as if like the playoffs could be set now. There's no way. It's too crazy, but
so you're saying that you're telling me that after week 4 in the NFL, when we do this program, you're not going to be saying overreaction Monday anymore.
No, I think every Monday there's overreactions from the weekend, but I think it's more extreme in the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. You start seeing crazy stuff like Dallas is going to the Super Bowl this year, and like just crazy stuff like Daniel Jones is going to make the Pro Bowl.
Or the Chiefs are toast, after losing the Chargers.
Yeah, like all this overreaction Monday stuff. It's crazy. Yeah. We all like to do it because it's entertaining, but it's not built in like sensible analysis on how these things work. A lot of teams start flat and poorly, and they make some tweaks to how they're doing play calls and this and that and the other, and they got great personnel. Like Detroit has great personnel. They have an amazing roster. So I have faith that they will get better.
But you saw what happened when Daniel Jones went from a really terrible offensive line to a really good offensive line. All of a sudden he looked good. So what do you think would happen if you took Indy's offensive line and took it to Detroit and put that in front of Goff? And put that in front of Jared Goff?
No, I think Detroit's offensive line's as good as Indy's.
You do?
Yeah.
Because they got absolutely whipped.
I know. They weren't ready for what came at them, but That's a very talented offensive line.
Mm-hmm. So much
I will
for
tell you, the offensive line that impressed me the absolute most this week was the Chargers.
It was impressive.
And they've had injuries, and they were just blocking madmen.
It's true.
Nobody was touching Herbert. Like, it was awesome.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Well, guys, happy football. Go watch a little bit of the Monday night game, and we will see you next time on an episode of the Sports Guys.
Thanks for joining us. We had a great time. Awesome weekend of football. And so far, so good. The season is unfolding nicely, both levels, pro and
It is.
college. And
It is.
it's a lot of fun to cover. There's a lot of stars, star power. There's interesting commentary. There's so much amazing storylines, whether it's NIL and free agency and free agency signings, and should Dallas have signed Micah, and all, just so many different pieces that are cool for us to follow. And we're glad that you came along for the journey, and like and subscribe as always, and help us out there, and we'll keep doing what we're doing, and leave us some comments.
Absolutely. Guys, we'll see you next time on the Sports Guys. Have a great night.
See
We'll see you.